Thanks for your company here. Now, if you ever thought bad roads are only in the hinterland, you may want to change your position, as some roads right here in the capital city, Accra, are in a terrible state. One example is the Dome-Kwabena constituency. Now, as part of our Joy News agenda on roads this week, Maxwell Agbagba visited the community in the capital to meet a taxi driver, Frederick Esiedu, who says he now spends more of his income on spare parts to fix his car. The 30-year-old taxi driver says it's dangerous to drive on some of the roads as the dust sometimes blurs his vision. There's more in this report.
The roads here are full of potholes as vehicles plying the route dodge the deep holes on the stretch. Commercial drivers in Kwabena are those who are badly affected by the terrible state of the roads. Frederick Esiedu is one of them. Even as he screams to get the attention of passengers, he's also concerned about his expenditure on spare parts.
Is it Kwabena to what?
Kwabena to Brekuso Road, yeah. Okay. The challenges are more because looking at the road is very bad. So you have been begging the municipal people to come in. You have been going to Abokobi so that they will come to our head, but they are not been coming. So now you are tired of buying spare parts and here and there, going to Abosokan every day and there. When you buy the spare part, it will spoil and you go to Abosokan. So when you work, you don't get any money. What your income, you go and use it to buy spare parts. So it's very bad. This road has been here since 2000.
The Member of Parliament for Dome-Kwabena, Adwasafo, is aware of Frederick's challenges and that of his colleague drivers. At an event to start the rehabilitation of the new Agbogba Hacho, Dome Pillar 2, Kwabena and Abokobi roads last year, she stated, quote, "As a Member of Parliament of this constituency, I'm very much aware of the negative effects our bad road network has on the operations of residents of the constituency. Drivers who ply on these bad roads charge you extra for the simple reason that they have to frequently visit the workshop because of the persistent breakdown of their vehicles," unquote. Frederick is also worried about the poor state of visibility on some of the roads. He says the dust on some of the untarred ones blur his vision.
It's very bad. Even look at the dusty. So when it rains, some cars, you cannot go, you cannot load and go. Very dangerous, very, very dangerous, as you know the rules of driving. Because you can see some cars coming with a tall speed. Because of the dust, you cannot see far. So you have to slow down for the dust to go down before you can drive. So it's very dangerous. Enter in our car, you shock. Because the passengers will be shouting on that, they think you are not keeping our car neat. You always keep our car neat. When you pass on the road going to and fro, just to and fro, master, you see that this car has been washed like 3 years. But every day when you close from work, you have to go and wash your car. But the next day, you be on the route. When you see the car, as if you not washed it since 4 years.
The painting of the structures along some of the streets of Kwabena have turned brownish as a result of the dust from some of the untarred roads. Residents and drivers like Frederick want authorities to address the situation. Maxwell Agbagba, Joy News.
Away from bad roads, there used to be the good old women in the neighborhoods from Batinga to Gushegu caring for their grandchildren. But today they've been branded witches and driven out of their homes to live elsewhere. The over 500 women now live in small cottages on the outskirts of the communities, struggling to survive but unwilling to go home for fear of being lynched. My colleague Justice Bedu visited the Batinga Witches camp and has put together the documentary Camps of Bondage. Here are excerpts.
One man, Ibrahim Dana, at the Blago community died, and the community members said they suspected he didn't die a natural death. So they decided to bring in a soothsayer into the community to perform some ritual. And they alleged that after the ritual, it indicated that it is Memuna tree Mindo who killed the man and so she's a witch. We have had several incidents in the northern region here where they would accuse somebody of being a witch.
My journey begins with a 600-kilometer trip to Tamale, the northern regional capital. I have been picked up by Aliyah Mohammed.
I work directly with all the alleged witches in the 5 camps that are currently hosted by the region.
ActionAid has been rescuing people suspected of witchcraft from camps here for over 10 years now.
Majority of us claim we are people of faith. If we are not Muslims, we are Christians or we are traditional believers. But this is something that is deep-rooted in people's hearts and their blood. Even people who have acquired high level of education, you have PhD holders, and when they talk about witchcraft, it can just put you off. Yeah. In our communities, a woman must have a level to which you will express issues that concern you. There's a level at which you should go. And so a woman who is very confident and assertive can easily be accused as a witch, because it's not common to find a woman talk about things. No.
It's nightfall by the time we arrive in Patinga town. The next morning, I head to the camp. In northern Ghana, singing and dancing is the best way to say welcome. The singing and dancing ends. The women coil back into their lonely shells. This is home to over 100 women. It's one of the largest witches' camps in Ghana. Meimunatu Sando doesn't even remember exactly how many years she spent here, but thinks she's been here for about 20 years. She's the oldest here and has seen many like herself accused of witchcraft, chased out of their homes, brought here to endure a life of solitude, and left to die in tattered penury.
Children in the Volta region have expressed grief over the upsurge of child right abuse incidents in the country. Now, they were particular about rampant rape and defilement cases, as well as child marriage incidents in recent times. They say these acts give indication that the Ghanaian society is not conducive for the development of children. They therefore appealed to government to intensify its fight against child rights abuse and ensure perpetrators of any act that stands to abuse children face the full wrath of the law. The children made the appeal during an encounter with the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, at his residence in the regional capital hall. Fred Kwame Asare reports.
The occasion dubbed End of Year Interaction with Children gave the pupils a chance to interact with the minister and ask questions on government policies and programs with regards to children. Some of the children asked questions bordering on government initiatives towards curbing teenage pregnancy, early child marriage, and provision of rehabilitation center for victims of child abuse, among others. One of them, Josephine Mauku, appealed to government to intensify its campaign on child right protection and ensure persons caught abusing the rights of children are severely dealt with.
There are other issues that are affecting us in the region. These include defilement of young girls as young as 3 or 4 years old, teenage pregnancy, child marriage. This is being practiced in the name of tradition and culture, child trafficking, and lack of good parental care in some cases. These negative practices affect girl-child education, especially making them not able to achieve their life goals. We humbly request the perpetrators of these wicked acts be brought before the law and allow the laws to take its course so that it will serve as a deterrent to other people.
In response, the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, noted that the Ministry of Children, Gender and Social Protection is implementing a number of policies to ensure a safe environment for children.
Rape, child defilement and sexual abuse of young children have to be reported to the police for the necessary action. And my advice is that we shouldn't try to settle these issues at home. These are very criminal acts. And if somebody commits a crime like that, the person should be punished. Because the person is a danger to society. The person may commit a crime again. So if the person comes to give parents money and the parents let him go, he's a danger to other children. So the laws are there to take care of that. And I believe the shelters and the rehabilitation aspect too is key. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is working on that. And because sometimes the police have a hard time trying to find places to use as shelters for some of the abused children. I'm sure the ministry is doing a lot. The ministry is developing a lot of policies to address most of the concerns that you have mentioned.
The Volta Regional Director of the Children Department, Israel Akrobetu, detailed that though the department is crippled with several challenges, it has outlined some major interventions to be implemented in 2018. The pupils and their teachers were treated to good music and food and had the opportunity to dance with the regional minister. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
ICU will not consider the proposed 1% deduction from workers' salaries to fund the National Health Insurance Scheme till they are briefed on the current state of the scheme by the NHIA. The NHIA is currently engaged in leadership of organised labour to explore the increase of their contributions to the scheme from 2.5% to 3.5%. Now, the authority is currently saddled with an over 300 million cedi debt from last year alone. General Secretary of the ICU, Solomon Cortez, however, asking how the debt was accumulated and what other options of funding there are for the scheme apart from wage deduction. He was speaking on News Desk today.
There's more to come from their end, because how come at the point they were able to accumulate so much debt? What was the result of that debt? We need to, appreciate all those things. And then, like I said earlier on, is it that SNIT is not giving them what they deduct from us directly to them on time? And if those debts, were placed to government, was it that government was supposed to give some contribution that was not coming? Because we have heard the current government saying that they came to inherit a debt of some, hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis on the NHI. They claim they have paid either all or over 50%. How did that debt accumulated? There are many questions that I believe on Thursday, when we meet them, we'll put it before them. The issue as to the new levy, we don't want to have it as a consideration for now. They must prove to us how efficient they have been, and then thereafter, if there are other issues of concern, that would mean that something extra should be done, then we can look at it. For now, I'm afraid we cannot jump into that proposal.
So for you, this is off the table. The issue of the levy is off the table until you get these...
Because the consultation have not ended, okay? And those who have to make the decision are the workers who are supposed to go and pay and feel the pinch. Whether they are willing to say, let's take it from there or we should take it from there. Already, the scheme itself does not cover a lot of ailments. Number two, if you visit any facility, they will tell you that the facility cannot cover this kind of drug or that kind of drug, etc., etc. So already there are a lot of questions on the scheme itself.
Right.
So we think we should just not jump the gun. We should take time with that and allow us to also go through the structures, and then the decision can be made.
Well, the deputy manager of the NHIA in charge of marketing, Oswald Isuamensa, says the authority is willing to engage stakeholders on the future of the scheme.
We have a funding gap of almost 376 million Ghana cedis for 2017. And if you're going to start a year with such a funding gap, it is critical that we take all forms of measures to make sure that the scheme will first of all cover what appears to be a funding gap and make sure that we have excess. This is a scheme that needs, as an insurance scheme, you need to have at least 3 to 6 months of reserves cover for any events of catastrophic situation where you can actually fund your scheme adequately. But here we are, the scheme is running a zero balance on its reserves, plus, as you know, owing service providers almost reaching 1.2 billion, out of which almost 908 million, 908.5 million has been paid as we speak, with some more payments coming out next week.
Okay.
So it's a serious situation that must be addressed, and addressed as soon as it's practical. So we're taking the steps, as we said, to engage with labor and to take input and to fine-tune whatever proposals that we put forward. What we're suggesting is that if all of us come together to agree that the scheme must be funded and funded well, we want a situation where workers will begin to contribute 1% of their wages in a month, every month, and then your employer would also contribute 2%.
Away from the NHIA, the minority in Parliament is challenging claims by government that its Planting for Food and Jobs program created 745,000 jobs last year alone. Agric Minister Dr. Akoto Owusu-Afriyie told Joy News in an interview the jobs were created through the supply of inputs and distribution of surplus foods resulting from the introduction of the program. But minority spokesperson on agriculture, Eric Opoku, says the program created 0 jobs last year.
At the inception of the program, government envisaged to use the program to create 750,000 jobs. In the first year, government decided to supply 235,356 metric tons of fertilizer. At the end of the period, government could only supply 100,000 metric tons of fertilizer, which constitute just 43% of the target. So if we wanted to use 235,000 metric tons to create 750,000 jobs, and we are able to supply 43%, just 100,000, definitely you cannot create that quantum of jobs as you envisage. So it is never true, and it cannot be found anywhere in our country that government has created 745,000 jobs. It is factually inaccurate. In any case, when you look at government budget, government was very specific about job creation under the program. When you read paragraph 789, they have listed the major milestones achieved under the Planting for Food and Jobs. And they only mention 822 agricultural extension officers who were recruited under the youth employment program. So for anybody to talk about 745 could be a big joke of the year.
Let's stay in the agric sector. As part of plans to make agriculture more attractive to unemployed youth in the country, researchers at the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute at Manga in the Binduri district of the Upper East region have introduced a modern method of farming known as the drip water irrigation system. The system is designed to pump water from a source using valves and pipes directly to the roots of crops. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Unlike the surface irrigation system, which is well known, this new technology supplies water directly to crops, thereby maximizing water. It is an important innovation, especially for farmers in areas where there are insufficient sources of water supply. The drip water irrigation system reduces chances of weeds growing on the farm and can also supply fertilizer directly to crops. This eliminates the disadvantage associated with the traditional method of sprinkling fertilizer on the farms, only for the fertilizer to be swept away by rain or wind. The drip water irrigation system has been introduced to about 200 selected farmers in the Boku area by researchers at the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research based in Manga in the Binduri district of the Upper East region. Dr. Francis Kusi is a researcher in charge of the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute.
A system that is so effective and efficient for crop production, as we demonstrated and show you on the field how it has been used to produce maize at this time of the year, where you cannot find fresh maize anywhere. And we did economic analysis to the youth. It's so attractive that they can generate very good income from farming. So, and we also targeted farmers who are also in good standing to invest into this technology. So the people we invited here are of these two categories: farmers in good standing to adapt this technology, and then the youth to also see how agri has also been simplified to make it easy for them to go in, and also to see how attractive and profitable agriculture is.
Ramson Adumbila, a research scientist who trained the farmers on the use of the drip water irrigation system and its benefits, observed that the method is suitable for dry season farming because of the nature of soil in the Upper East region.
We have so many irrigation systems that are available, but the question you ask yourself is the efficiency and uniformity of these systems. Looking at up here, the upper regions, fortunately for us, we have good water underground. Our aquifers are able to store water for prolonged use. But the question is, have we tapped that resource underground up to the best of my knowledge? Is a no. So I still think there's a possible potential in trying to expand and intensify agriculture in this regard. We should be able to use drip systems in our day-to-day production systems, especially in the dry season, where you have majority of people cultivating onion among other vegetables to help supplement losses that have incurred during the rainy season as a result of poor climatic conditions that have.
The farmers, drawn from the Boko municipality and the Binduri, Boko West, Pusiga and Garutimpani districts for the training, were impressed with the new innovation.
But through this drip technology, this is my first time to see it. So I've seen that we were wasting a lot of money in the field, but we don't achieve it. Because since we start farming of these vegetables, we were doing manpower. We use water cans.
So lack of knowledge like how we are now gaining this morning, that it was drawing us back. All the youth that was with us has all fled to either Accra, Kumasi, because they have seen it as a hard work. So since we are now getting this knowledge, we will advise them to stay with us so that we take that as a job.
This one, you can't, use your manpower again. This one, you can just open the pipe so that the water is working for you. So you can't take a lever again. This one, it will reduce the lever small for you.
The drip water irrigation system is part of a project known as the Innovation Lab for Climate-Resistant Cowpea. It is funded by the USAID and implemented by the Savannah Agriculture Research Institute in partnership with the University for California. From Manga in the Binduri district of the Upper East region, Albert Sorry, reporting for Joy News.
Away from the agriculture sector, aware of the potential danger unemployment poses to security on the continent, African leaders say enough of the talk and they are moving towards finding a lasting solution to the canker. The 30th summit of the African Union is ending today in Addis Ababa, and as presidential correspondent Elton Brobe reports, far-reaching decisions are expected to be adopted. Now, he joins us from Addis Ababa. Hello, Elton. Now, just give us a quick summary of events that occurred at that 30th summit of the AU over the weekend.
Right, so then it's the meeting ending now. What we are waiting for is a communique that will communicate the decisions taken by member states as far as the AU movement is concerned. Now, early on, Minister Ayokoboche we sat through almost all the closed door sessions. Now, what I've been told is that members or AU,
Hello, Alton.
Now,
Alton, I'd love you to reposition if you can. We are finding it quite difficult hearing what you're saying. Well, we'll try to establish a good line with Alton there. Hello, Alton. Sure, that's great. I was saying we lost you a bit, but you were at that point where you were saying that the Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Ayokobuche, had to sit in some meetings, closed-door meetings.
Exactly, and it is basically had to do with the decision taken by AU moving forward. Remember that last year they had this issue about imposing a 0.2 levy on the import for all member countries to fund the activities of the AU. Now, what we've been told is that, with the exception of Ghana and 20 other countries, most of the countries that make up the AU, they've yet to implement this particular directive. So the communique that we are expecting it to come will spell out sanctions agreed by member states to be imposed on member states that fail to implement this 0.2%. So that is one issue that members have resolved. What we are waiting to hear is the particular sanction that will go against member states that fail to implement this particular directive. Also, the continental free trade has been agreed by members for its implementation to start later this year. It will allow for the removal of barriers in Africa so African countries can trade among themselves. Also, the free movement, that's the free regime that AU is seeking to implement within the continent, is also something that we give consideration. The communique will tell us how member states will, respond to this particular issue. What we've been told is that some African states have already started the, adoption of the free regime. Ghana is one of them. Those who are opposing to it are the few, as some are seeking their country a transit point to some European countries. So they want to prevent that. But AU has taken a firm position on this particular matter, and that is to say that there should be free movement of all Africans on the African continent, and that should start in 2019. So the community will spell out the roadmap that will move to the resolution of this particular matter. Also, an air market-free system to allow for aeroplanes to move from one country to the other without, going through those obstacles has also been adopted by the AU. So these are some of the far-reaching decisions adopted by the AU. What we are waiting to see is a communique that will give finality some of these, decisions taken by the AU.
And finally, before you go, Alton, the AU members or leaders of Africa at that AU summit have been discussing unemployment and how it could be a threat to security on the continent. They've been applauding Ghana for our work in that sector. Give us some details. What exactly are they looking at? And hopefully some of them want to emulate our strategies.
Well, indeed, the speeches yesterday from the chairman of the African Union, the United Nations Secretary General, everybody who spoke and have called the need for African leaders to stop the talking and move into action to resolve unemployment for the continent. The president of Guinea actually raised the issue about Ghana's, flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs, which according to him is creating jobs for the people. But the main issue that they are of the view that it will resolve unemployment of the continent is to fully implement this continental free trade policy, which will allow the various countries to trade among themselves. They think that if the market is open, it will be open to 1.5 billion people on the continent. And Africa will be better off if they trade among themselves. They need a job, it will industrialize. And that will bring about immediate jobs. So people who die on the sea, people who die on the desert, in the quest to see greener pastures across, that particular matter will be resolved. But, later in the evening, we'll hear more from the Foreign Affairs Minister, because I had an interview with her where she shows some of these issues taken. But she President Akubadi was Afro in the AU to South Africa, where he was chairman the senior of Mandela.
hopefully tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much, Elton, for the update. My colleague Elton Broby, presidential correspondent, coming to us from Addis Ababa, where the 30th summit of the AU is currently ongoing. We'll bring you more on this in subsequent bulletins. Now, the Ghana Education Services Study Leave Policy, which excludes teachers who seek to pursue higher education in business, is killing interest at all levels. That's the assertion by the Ghana Association of Business Education Teachers. First Vice President Samuel Odro says many business teachers change courses in order to qualify for study leave with pay. Nathaniel Bekwe reports.
More than 100 students from various senior high schools in the Ashanti region met at Effigyasi Senior High Commercial School for the climax of the Business Week celebration. The theme for the celebration was Making Business Education Attractive, the role of business students in Effigyasi Senior High Commercial School. First Vice President Samuel Odro says many business teachers change courses in order to qualify for study leave with pay. He was speaking at a Deba to climax the Business Week at Effigyasi Senior High Commercial School.
Teacher, you will not be given the scholarship. That is a study leave with pay. It is given to those who offer science and other subjects like mathematics and English. But the business teachers are not given that opportunity. So it's an indication that the course is not relevant to the students. If you want to go further and you don't have funds or you cannot pay your fees, then it means that you cannot go for the business education course. Okay. Then you either decide to go for any of the courses that will attract the study leave with pay. Okay.
Board chairman of Efisco, Ishak Chei Brobe, shared similar concern. He cited admission requirements into nursing and midwifery training, which also sidelines business students.
If you do business as science in senior high school and you want to go to College of Education, you want to go to nursing and midwifery school, and you want to go to the university, there's no problem. But particularly with nursing and midwifery schools and then colleges of education, you know, the business students were not being considered as an option to colleges of education and then also to the nursing and midwifery.
Mr. Chei Brobe wants government to review such policies to ensure equity.
It's a policy issue. Okay. We need serious and urgent governmental intervention in this matter. And then also curriculum modification. If our time we're doing business, all right, but students who were doing health science and general science were admitted to do nursing. So there was not a problem at all. And so at the moment, if the policy can change so that students who are doing business can do general science and then also do elective maths, particularly, that should be enough qualification, onto the nursing and midwifery school.
Reporting for Joy News, Bequin Nathaniel.
Now, to some good news, the Nadoli-Kaleo district has achieved something remarkable by scoring 0 maternal deaths in the year 2017. District Health Director of the Ghana Health Service, Phoebe Balanguyen-Timi, disclosed this at the 2017 performance review of the district. She, however, noted that there was a decrease of utilization of health facilities by pregnant women. Here's Rafiq Salam's report from Nadoli.
Performance review meetings are mandated by the Ghana Health Service, and it focuses on the act of stock taking, starting from the tip zones and ending at the national level. The case of the Nadoli-Kaleo District Health Directorate is not different. The performance review took into consideration the achievements, challenges, and priorities of the district for the year under review. The review meeting brought together all major stakeholders in the district, including members of civil society organizations, traditional rulers, and some health workers in the district and beyond. Nadoli-Kaleo District Director of the Ghana Health Service, Phoebe Balanguyen-Timi, laid bare the challenges that confronted the district in the year 2017.
Challenges at the beginning of the year were delay in reimbursement from NHIA, frequent breakdown of our cold chain facilities that we need to store vaccines to be able to vaccinate our children. We also had issues of inadequate health infrastructure. As you could see from some of the earlier presentations, we need additional health infrastructure. Poor data management, and without quality data, there is no way you can do evidence-based planning.
Despite the challenges that they were confronted with, they were able to achieve zero maternal deaths.
In our coverages, antenatal increased, family planning increased, and we are proud to announce that we did not record any maternal deaths. But utilization decreased of our health facilities because most of the clients who go will tell you that they go and then there are no drugs. So instead of going to the facilities, they buy from the drug shops, and then they do self-medication, which we do not want.
Phoebe Balaguyen, however, expressed worry over the increasing cases of non-communicable diseases.
Non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, diabetes is also on the rising trend, and that is what we are really worried about. But this can be prevented due to what? Changing lifestyles. If we change our lifestyles, we can do better. We have also done well in chips, and we have 31 functional chip zones. And 9 are operating from the sub-districts, the rest are compounds. So we've done very well. The midwife situation has improved, and that is why we have exceeded the target of 60% for deliveries.
For his contribution to the development of the Nodole-Keleo district, especially in the health sector.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Bernice Abubedu. A quick breather here. Sports and business are next. Do stay.